Good morning. Good morning. Hope you all are doing well. It's I guess it's morning here for me. I'm in Arkansas, shipping out 18 orders today, and I hope you'll come and join me and hang out for a little bit as I share with you exactly what's been selling over the past few days. If you're new to me, my name is Jason. I'm a full-time reseller, and I go live, create content for other resellers, just to connect with you all, to share what types of things are selling, to give you insight into my business, and of course to connect with you and hear how things are going on your end as well. We learn together, we learn from one another, and so yeah, I'm live now to hang out. So I hope you'll stick around and join me as I ship out these 18 orders that I've got going out across 3 platforms. We've got Facebook and YouTube live today, and as always, I appreciate you all. Um, One thing I'll say as we're kind of getting started here, if you're looking for a reseller spreadsheet, the spreadsheet is out and it's linked in wherever you can find me. So linked on Facebook, linked in the description of this video on YouTube, and you can get your organization tool all ready for you for the new year. You can have it ready to go. So when January 1st rolls around, that's sitting there right there, ready to go. So that dropped last Friday, and I'm excited to release this tool for you all, the new version. It's a beautiful day in Northwest Arkansas today, going to be in the 70s. I hope you've got some sunshine and some beautiful weather where you are. Kind of strange for the middle of November, but no complaints here. So as you saw, I've got, or as you may have seen, I've got eBay, Poshmark, and Depop sales going out. So these are the past 2 days of sales since I didn't ship out yesterday and Veterans Day. I'm combining Mondays and Tuesdays and a couple that came in this morning as well. So we've got eBay, Poshmark, Depop, a couple of Depop. I've got one more on Depop that could come through if the buyer pays. This person and I worked out an agreement, and still waiting on payment. But I think they'll send payment based on our exchange. So sorry about that. My phone does not want to stay up. Okay, we'll put it right here. If you're able to, let me know where you're watching from, whether you're new to me or whether you've been following for a while. Say hello in the comments if you're able to say hello. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So as I always do, I want to start off with Depop, 2 orders there that I'm shipping out. And yeah, I've noticed Depop trending up for me a little bit, and I'll share what I do to kind of help bring in sales. So on Depop, I do a couple of things before I ship these out. A couple of things that I do to help with sales in Depop. I boost every listing of mine in my store. It's an 8% fee. Not all of my items sell boosted. I would say probably about 60% sell boosted. So that helps boost all the listings, gets them up there and gets them seen. And then next, because Depop has such small fees, even when you add in the boosting fee and their payment processing fee, which I believe is like 10%, it's really not that much. It may even be less than that. Let me check one of these listings here. Yeah, I'd say about 10%. So I usually will run like a 5% off discount on all the items in my store. So boosting and discount to help get those Depop buyers in. And I have noticed, that it is trending up, which is good. Last month I did 10 Depop sales, 10 units sold on Depop. This month already I have 6. So I'm trending above my pace for last month. I guess I'm on pace for about 15 units. Is that right? 12 to 15 units, somewhere in there. So trending up, which is good. Mercari still down. So if you're new to me, I primarily sell on eBay and Poshmark. Those bring in about 96% of my sales. If you have any questions over things you're seeing, brands that I'm picking up, of course, there's nuance to all these brands. If you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to put them in the chat. If you just want to say hello, you can do that as well. Let me know how your day is going. So we'll go ahead and get started. So the first item I'm going to be shipping out on Depop are a pair of Duluth jogger pants that were flawed. So I sold them for less than I typically would get for something like this. I'd typically be aiming around 18 to the low 20s. I took an offer of $12.50 because they were stained. So $12.50 to move them. And I've got a couple of flawed items that you'll see in this live. When that happens, I just typically, if I have a decent offer, meaning more than like $3, $4, I usually just take it if they're pretty flawed. So let's get these out of here. Shipping out. The way I see it is like, I made a mistake. I didn't catch the flaw. Sorry about that, Facebook. I had a call coming in. The way I see it is I made a mistake. I didn't catch the mistake in the store. So now it's just time to recoup my money and get out. Sorry for that brief interruption, Facebook. I should have, I'll just go ahead and do it now. Let's go ahead and just go, do not disturb. Do not disturb so that I don't get calls again. Okay, so I made a mistake. It's time to get the money back and just get out of there. And obviously, if it's a huge stain, I will accept a lot of different offers. I guess really liberal offers. If it's a minor stain or a minor, I guess I should say minor imperfection, then it's going to depend on the item. I don't have like a standard protocol for flawed items. But Maggie in Newark, Ohio, picking up these Duluth jogger pants. Eve, Lois, Judy, Donna, what's going on? Your names are coming across on Facebook. Hope you guys are having a great start to the day. Let's say start to the day. It's pretty late. It's 10:30 my time. I'm Central. So if you're on the West Coast, I guess it could be a good start to the day. Next item on Depop was this Nike Wake Forest athletic pullover. Took a best offer of $20. I picked up two of these actually about a year ago. Same price, same size, same style. One was black and one was, I believe, white. And I listed them both around $35. The first one sold like immediately, full price, like $35. This one sat around and sat around. I thought this one was the better one, but eventually got an offer last night. Basketball season is here, and well, football season too, but football's kind of coming to a close. It's toward the end of the season. Basketball season is here, and people are picking up gear to wear. So Wake Forest Demon Deacon jacket going out for $20. Going to Illinois. I think Wake Forest is in North Carolina. Do you all know that? Can you confirm? Let's see here. Where is Wake Forest? Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Yeah, okay. I was a little thrown off by the Illinois shipping address, but of course, fan bases have fans all over the country. Okay, those are my two Depop orders. We're going to ship out. Sorry, I don't know why this keeps dropping down. We're going to ship out my my Poshmark sales now. Starting off with this item. This was out of my wife's closet. It's not really a Bolo brand that I would tell you about. It's not something that that I would pick up at the store to flip. I think she got let's see, got $13 for it. So I'm gonna ship it out, but from time to time I'll sell my wife's and my items. Actually, I have an item of mine in here as well in this batch of orders going out. If you're shipping on Poshmark, you may not know this. You may know it. You may not. You've got free supplies that you can request. So these came in free. These are Ground Advantage supplies that you can use for Poshmark orders. So I've got these. I've got a couple different sizes of boxes. You can just Google Poshmark free shipping supplies, and you should get some kind of link where you can send an email to pick these up. And it does take a while. I think I waited about 4 weeks to get all of my stuff in. So just know that it's going to take a while, and you probably won't hear anything for a while after you order it. But they will eventually show up, I guess, depending on where you are in the country. Robert, what's going on? This one going to Ohio as well. So we've got a lot of Ohio, Illinois orders going out the door. Later on this video, after I ship, I'm going to be talking about one feature of the new spreadsheet. Um, one of the many features of the new spreadsheet. I'll be highlighting that in just a second. But first, we're going to get through all these orders. We're staying on Poshmark. We've got this brand new Untuck It shirt going out the door for $25. Again, brand new. That's a good deal on a new shirt. Typically, those used shirts don't sell for much less than that. Unfortunately, the Poshmark supplies that I was telling you about don't make poly mailers big enough for a shirt like that. So I've got to use my own supplies on that one. Going to Mayaca City, Florida. Those of you that may have come or were looking for a live on Monday, I typically go live around this time on Monday morning and ship out my weekend orders. I actually had what was going on? Oh, we had a death in the family a couple weeks ago. It was like my aunt's dad, who was 93. So it was kind of expected. It wasn't anything that was like out of the ordinary, but of course we went to the service and celebrated and honored his life. And I had forgotten about that. So I didn't go live on Monday, so I figured I'd go live today. Marcia says, I heard you can use the Poshmark supplies on other platforms as long as you send USPS Ground Advantage. Yeah, I don't know. I can't confirm or deny that. It'd be great if you can. And I guess technically you could do it. I could use all these supplies for my eBay orders too. I just don't know if that's frowned upon, or I'll have to do some research on that and see, because definitely if I can order supplies, I know what resellers are probably doing it, obviously, but if I can order supplies and not have to use the ones that I'm using, that would be great. Appreciate you bringing that up, Marcia. All right, next up on Poshmark. You heard me say I had an order come out of my wife's closet. This one came out of my closet. These Levi's jeans, the 510s, which I think are like the, what are they? The skinny. They're too skinny for me. So they're going out the door. And I actually got pretty good money on it. So I don't typically pick up Levi's. I know Chris at Peak picks up a lot of Levi's, and he's even got like a challenge going on right now. Like, can he sell 90 pairs in 90 days? Obviously, the Levi's, the 500 series jeans do well. This one actually brought in decent money, $23 on Poshmark. That was a full price sale on a pair of used jeans. So it's maybe something that I start looking for more of these Levi's in certain models. Obviously, like the 501s, the 511s, the 550s. Those are all kind of like common Levi's models that probably do well. But 23 is pretty good. I was actually shocked that these went for that much. Going to Durango, Colorado, my old stomping grounds. Stephanie, 707. What's going on, y'all? I tried not to say y'all. I tried to say you all, but it probably came out as y'all. All right, next up. This was a fail. This next item was a fail. And of course, when I go live, I share my wins with you, but I also share my losses or my mistakes. Back in the day, I used to support some friends on Whatnot, and this Orvis sweater, it's a beautiful sweater. Orvis Fishing. Orvis has like a higher end fishing line, but they've tried to get into like the more everyday wear. I bought this for $17. It was like the price plus shipping plus tax was like $17 and change on Whatnot. And again, I was doing this to support a friend who was going live, but I did not make money on this. I sold this for $21 on eBay, and it sat around for almost 2 years. So this was picked up at the end of November in 2023. So, I mean, I'm happy to support my friend Chris at Peak during his live. Happy to make a purchase from him. I probably have a few other items in inventory that I picked up just to make a purchase, support a friend, but I'm glad this is gone. Obviously, a big sweater is taking up a lot of space in the bin compared to like a golf polo. And I got my money back, and it's time to move on. Going to Canterbury, New Hampshire. Last up on Poshmark, then we'll get into eBay orders. I've got this another Untuck It that's brand new. So you may not. I've talked about these a lot because these tend to sell over the weekend, and they usually pop into my Monday morning shipping lives. But I picked up 600 of these back in May, and I think I've sold. I think I just cracked over 100 sold on these. So I still haven't broke even yet. But every sale I make, I'm at least doubling my money. So I knew it was going to be a long game. I knew it was going to take some while to sell through these. And still, I mean, I've only sold nearing 20% of my inventory. So it's going to be, it's going to take a while, but I'm okay with that. Kellen says, I had a mega fail. I had international shipping turned on Etsy, sold a $1 vintage plastic tray to Spain, and was in the hole by $10 by the end of it. Yeah, those things happen. You know, it sucks when it happens, but it's usually, you know, that's usually when we learn, is when we make mistakes. Grammy Pammy says, it's all good lessons. That's right. That's exactly right. It's a good way of looking at it. You learn from your mistakes. I would say you don't learn as much from your wins. You learn more from your mistakes because it hits more. It's like, ooh, I don't want to do that again. All right, closing out Poshmark, done there. No more international shipping for me. I could do it right, but I had a flat rate shipping fee that just didn't cover it. Okay, yeah. Yeah, you got to do it. It makes sense for your business. I actually do have international orders, and I think I've got one going out on eBay. I think I sold a backpack to, let's see, where is it? Yeah, going to Chile. Sold a North Face backpack going to Chile. But yeah, I've definitely been burned on international shipping before. Actually, recently I had, while we're on the subject, I had 2 orders. I've been shipping internationally through a third-party site, so eBay's and another site, for several years now. And I had 2 orders in the last month or 2 that did not deliver. As you know, I need that delivery notification on eBay to make sure that I get my payment. So the first one was $88 all in. eBay just refunded the buyer and it went out of my account. Second one was 46 all in, a pair of shorts, and the same thing. Didn't deliver. It went out of my account. So I appealed the first one because it eventually delivered, and eBay just gave me the $88 back, which was great. But then I did the exact same thing with the second pair, and they said, because it took too long, we can't refund your payment. And I'm like, you just refunded my payment on this other one. It's like 2 different sides of the same story. So I've started adding for I raised all my shipping prices $1, and now I'm adding insurance on every package for $1 to make sure if this happens again, I'm covered. So that's my international stories as of late. Does Untuck It do well for me? Thanks for the question, guys. Appreciate that. Stephanie, it does. I used to sell a bunch of used stuff there, and they would sell for about the price that I'm selling these new ones. So yeah, it does do well, but it helps that they're all new with tags. If they were used, you'd be getting 15 to 20, 22 maybe, just depending on what you have. I mean, you can sell some like heavier flannels for about that, but yeah. Marcia says, I'm still figuring out Etsy shipping. It's strange. Does it auto adjust depending on its location? I can't answer that, but maybe someone can answer it in the chat. I do sell on Etsy, but all of my products are digital. So I'm not shipping anything. It's just downloading. So I have no experience with shipping on Etsy or international at all. Or I guess you're just asking more about Etsy shipping. My wife has sold like some prints on Etsy, like artwork and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have the experience. I guess it depends on how you set it up. There's probably multiple ways to set up shipping so that I don't know that to be true, but just like with eBay, you can do calculated shipping or you can do a flat fee, like a flat shipping rate. All right, we've got 10 orders on eBay to ship out, starting off with this top one, a women's Pendleton shirt. Pendleton flannel. Was this wool? No, it was cotton. So unfortunately, it was cotton and not wool. But I still got, let's see here, 17.98 plus shipping. I had someone reach out recently and say, hey, on YouTube especially, can you say whether your items are selling with shipping, plus shipping? All my items, just so you know, are with shipping added on. So if I tell you 17.98, just know that I'm adding an additional amount for shipping. 707 Treasure says you have to set up a calculated profile. Okay, that makes sense. Recently found 2 in excellent condition for $7.99. Picked them up and have not sold them yet. I have them listed for $20. They are a size large, so good size too. Time will tell. Thanks for answering. Yeah. I've just noticed that women's sits around a little longer. There's just so many options and different sizing and stuff. I picked these up June 13th or at least I listed them in the middle of June of this year. So take it for what it's worth. It took me 5-6 months to sell those or to sell this Pendleton. And knowing that I'm not going to get a whole lot for a women's shirt, especially a cotton Pendleton, I probably would not have paid more than like $4 for this. So if I'm picking up women's stuff and I'm selling it at the low end, I'm probably getting them like half price for $2 or $3. Etsy doesn't have quite the same discounts that eBay does when you purchase a US label. Okay. Purchase my label from Etsy or in a few instances directly from the USPS in person, as it was cheaper than Etsy discounted shipping. Wow, that's shocking that to go and purchase it in person was cheaper than the Etsy rate. You would think with Etsy being as large as they are, they're not eBay for sure, but you would think that they would have better rates than that. Appreciate the topic and the conversation. Let's keep it going. Of course, whatever's on top of your mind, let's keep talking about it. I can definitely talk about what I think to talk about, or we can just talk about what you all want to talk about, which I think is more important. I'm learning something new too, because like I said, I don't ship on Etsy. So I learned from you all, you Etsy experts. That's going to Brevard, North Carolina. Next up, this was a great sale, and this was actually a faster flip. I listed this at the end of September. They sold a month later for $34.99, my full price. Stephanie, you're welcome. Stephanie says, thanks for all the info. I sure appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thanks so much for coming and hanging out with us. So these things like this, I love finding time and time again, especially right now. It's hunting season. These things are selling. These are mossy oak camo, obviously camo hunting pants. They're a cargo pants, so they've got pockets all down the sides, but they're a heavier polyester. So they're not just like a lightweight material. They're a heavier, I wouldn't say thermal, but I would definitely say more durable. Again, I picked these up for like $6 or $7. They sold for $35. I really like your shoe shelf. Thanks. I've got another one right here that's out of the camera that you can't see, the same size. So it's not full, but you can actually find that. I've got them all linked on my page. You can find my supplies that I use. So if you're looking for something like that, I picked that up on Amazon, and I think I picked up like 3 or 4 quantity 3 or 4 to build that huge one. Like one order will build like 20 or 25 cubes, and that one is probably 3 or 4 of those. Tuition Ain't Cheap says I do follow Tuition Ain't Cheap. Says she does free shipping on Etsy. She just raises her prices to accommodate. Okay, that's how I used to treat eBay. Honestly, I used to do free shipping, and I would just raise all of my prices to capture that shipping rate. All right, so going to Newcastle, Pennsylvania. I'll give you the stats on this one. This is just, if I could have 10 sales a day like this, it doesn't sound as awesome, but to have 10 like $35 sales, it hits above that like bread and butter item. Typically bread and butter, I think like upper teens to mid 20s. But once I hit that $30 range and up, then I start to get excited about the sales that I'm making. Just because there's just so many bread and butter. Yeah, you're welcome, Stephanie. Thanks for asking about that. So this did sell promoted, shipping and everything taken out. I made about $20 on $20.19 on these pair of pants. So I paid my rates here, like Goodwill, are $6.99 for a pair of pants. So I would have paid about $7 for those. A month later, they bring in $20 profit. So for all of you quick mathers out there, that's almost 300%. 300% return on my money within a month. That's what I like right there. Okay, you've got some retail arbitrage in here as well. Got a question from Christine. Do you have a rule of thumb for your profit? Like you need to double or triple your investment? That's so interesting you asked that question. I didn't see it to buy in the first place. Typically, I used to just say, like back in the day when eBay was like, there weren't as many sellers on there. I was like, I want to make a minimum of $12 profit. That was kind of my low goal. And now I'm realizing if you look at some of the bigger resellers, people who are scaling their business and selling more volume, they're okay with profits that are spend 6 to make like 7 or 6. So if you think about it, like that's 100% return. So to spend 6 and get 6 back, obviously you don't want to hold that item for a year, but I'm getting more into that realm of like, instead of having a low, like $12 is my low, just thinking, I mean, I guess if I had to throw out a number, I would say $10, but there are times when I buy things and I know I'm only going to make like 8. And of course, the type of item that it is and how fast I think it's going to sell is going to dictate that as well. If it's something I can pick up and sell in a month, and I know it's going to move in a month, then I can afford to make a $7 or $8 profit. Retail arbitrage, got these and another pair, new Polo Ralph Lauren fleece shorts. And these sold, they're retail for $110. They sold for a best offer of $40. I think I paid $16 for these. It was either $10 or $16, somewhere in that range. So if I paid $16, you know, I'm looking at what? Profit of about $18. So that's kind of right there, that rule of thumb of like 100% profit. With retail arbitrage, I've even gotten to where, you know, I'll pay, say, 20 to make 10 or $15. So that seems kind of low, or seems kind of high for that. But I'm looking more at like 50% profit. But it's harder to do too. You have people who come in and you have competition on new with tags more than you do, I think, on used for that like exact same item. All right. So on the retail arbitrage piece right here, I think I made, again, it's going to depend on if I paid 10 or 16, but if I paid 16, I made $12 profit, which is not great. I wouldn't do that again, especially with as long as this took. Think you just starting to resell. Awesome. What got you into reselling? What was the thing that was like, I want to do this? Most of the time I hear, you know, if you're like me, I wasn't trying to get into reselling. I just kind of fell into it. But I think that happens with a lot of people. All right, next up, not a brand I would say pick up, Pink Dolphin. Picked this up and listed it 2 years ago, December of 2023. It's got like a really cool graphic that you won't be able to see. It's got like a, I can't tell what that is. Looks like an eagle on the back. I can flip this around. See if you can see that. No, you're not gonna be able to see it. Okay. I was hoping it would spin around and show you, but it's got like a really cool graphic on the back. It's like a track jacket. And when I looked these up, there was one that sold for like 30, 40 bucks, something like that. And of course, that wasn't the case for me. Took a while to sell, 2 years, and I got $20 plus shipping. So live and learn. I didn't lose money on it. And still to spend like $6 on this jacket and make like 10 or 12 bucks is still good, but not 2 years later. We're in the business of moving items, not keeping, not storing. Facebook Marketplace has been my bread and butter, but communication lacks on buyer part. Yeah, then that's kind of par for the course there. You're going to have people who are like, get back to you, and some just completely ignore you. Both on the buyer and the seller's side, whether you're sourcing on Facebook or selling on Facebook, we're doing both. Poshmark is touch and go. Yeah. Poshmark is touch and go. It used to be better for me. There were months I was selling, this would have been like last year, that I was selling a lot more than I am there now. All right. Got an old pair of Gap brand new chino pants that sold for full price on eBay, $29.97. This was a thrifted item for $6 or $7. I mean, I don't know if you can tell. Maybe that's like a Gap factory tag. But I mean, that's definitely an older style tag. I still got almost $30 for these pants. Love that. All right. I thought my scale was off. It's saying it's under a pound. Usually pants are more than a pound. But I'm going to take it. Going to Austin, Texas. Christine says, haven't tried eBay, but interested. Christine, how do you list? I don't know how long you've been reselling, but how do you list your items? Do you manually list on Poshmark and then manually like copy and paste that info over to Facebook? All right, now we get to the North Face jacket that's going to Chile right here. I used to put these in priority mail boxes, but priority mail is just too expensive, and especially for something international, I'm not sending that priority mail. So I'm going to throw it into a couple of poly mailers that I've got here, and it'll probably be double lined. What was your highest return for profit in your history of reselling? Highest return? Oh gosh, I don't know. It's really hard to say. I know back in just to give like a general idea, back in my early days when I was started in 2016, occasionally I'll go back and look at like my numbers in my spreadsheet from those like early years and the items that I was selling. And I did this recently, and I was actually shocked to see that I was selling items for less than what I'm selling items for now. That surprised me. I mean, that was almost 10 years ago. And on top of that, I was doing it with free shipping. But because of that, I was also turning items over a lot faster. So, I mean, there were months when I had, I think there were a couple of months where I had 45 to 50% sell through, but those were the early days when I didn't have a lot of items. So when you start building volume, you're driving your sell through down unless you're, you're pushing your sell through down unless you're just like driving your prices down too. But the profit question, I can't really answer without looking at those numbers. Manually takes forever. If you're not using Nifty, let me suggest that. It's a great tool. Nifty, I don't know if you've heard of it, Christine, but it's something that you can cross-list your items onto other platforms, and it literally takes seconds to do it. So I typically will create an eBay listing. I'll pull it into Nifty, and then I can click it and get it out to Poshmark, Mercari, Depop, are the main sites on Nifty that you can cross list over to. But you can also do the same thing with Poshmark. You can create the listing in Poshmark, bring it in, and then cross it over to eBay and the other sites, or you can use their sweet AI tool, which you'll create the listing using AI. So it'll take your pictures, create a title, create a description, do a lot of that, and then you can just make some minor tweaks. Um, and then you can automatically from there list it to all those sites. So Poshmark, eBay, whatever platforms you're on. So if you're interested in Nifty, let me know. I've got a free trial that you can use. And if you decide to go through with a subscription after that, you'll get 15% off your first month. Christine, thanks for popping in here. Of course, Nifty is also linked in my description. Anything that I'm referring to, supplies, my spreadsheet, Nifty, all of this stuff, if you're looking for free USPS supplies, I've got them in the description of the video. I've got them linked on all my channels, like my About page. So, or my bio, I guess I should say. Sounding like an old man now. Using Nifty, thanks in part to your suggestion, has saved me a ton of time, and I've been able to rapidly increase my inventory. That's awesome, Kellen. So glad that you are liking it. I will say, for those that maybe don't know Nifty, it is an investment, and that can deter people from wanting to use it to pay for the monthly fee. I think it's like $69.99, $89.99, depending on the plan that you have a month. But if you think about that, if you're selling on one platform and you now put all your site items onto a second, third, or fourth platform, you've now opened up the ability to make a lot more sales than you had before, potentially. So you make like 3 sales, like 3 bread and butter sales, you pay for your monthly subscription. So you have to think about, and what I'm embracing more now that I'm further down the road is it takes money to make money. I used to look at spending money as like, ooh, I want to cut all of my expenses and my cost. And there's some wisdom to that. But for the most part, successful businesses spend money to bring money in. And that's how you kind of have to look at Nifty if that's something that you're interested in. Not that you have to use Nifty. You can use other sites as well, but that's the one I use that has been really huge for me. All right, let's hope this fits in here. It may not. I may have to go to a box because I don't have a bigger poly mailer. Guess I can tell you about it before I move on. The North Face Jester backpack. Really excellent condition here. No rips, no flaws, no stains. Zippers all work. $35 on eBay. Going to Chile, and the buyer paid $30 to ship this. So again, it's one of those shipments where I think it's going to just fit in. I'm going to put insurance on this just to make sure I'm not losing my money again after the 2 instances that I had recently. Got a lot of great conversation today. I want to thank you all for coming and joining me. If you're new to this channel, subscribe on YouTube, follow on Facebook. Make sure to like this video, share it with someone if there's someone out there that you know is either interested in reselling or maybe at the beginning stages and looking to learn some tips. Barbara says on Facebook, Nifty's amazing. Not only does it make cross-listing easy, but it has AI to create the listing for you, and it tracks everything you need for tax time. That's right. It does. It does all those things. Okay, so I was able to get it. This is, I believe it's a 14.5 by 19 inch poly mailer, which captures most backpacks, which is great. I can't close it because the backpack is too long, so I'm going to just turn it around and insert this into another poly mailer. And it will be double bagged, which is great going overseas. I'm going to be spending more time in transit, so that second liner will come in handy. And then I'll also reinforce it with some tape just to make sure it doesn't get ripped. NRC, for Christ, what's going on? Lag, hi. How do you store your blazers and suit jackets. Funny you should ask that. That's really relevant and on point today. I have them all in this closet over here that you can't see. So blazers and like heavy coats that won't fit in a clear poly mailer, I'll hang up. And mainly, I used to fold them and put them in bins, but I just don't like those creases, those hard creases when you take it out. And the first impression is everything. Yes, I'm going to fold it when I ship it, but if it's been in shipment, if it's been in transit for maybe 5 or 6 days, hopefully it doesn't have the hard folds like it does if it's been sitting in a bin for a year. And I say funny you should mention that, because yesterday, so this past week and a half, I've been going through and doing quality checks on all of my inventory, which is something that I do periodically throughout the year, but I've never done like my whole inventory all at once. So checking my spreadsheet, checking eBay, checking Nifty, checking all the sites to make sure that every item I have is listed and accounted for, and that everything is organized. So yesterday I went through all my blazers and coats and we're just like doing my quality checks there. So that's super on point. Things like shoes and blazers, I don't really have a quality check frequently in place, and I haven't done it in like several years. And so I was like, it's probably time for me to do that. If you guys were on if you were on a Monday morning shipping live that I did maybe a couple of weeks ago, I ended up finding out on that live that I had a pair of shoes that were sitting back there that were not listed, and they were like $100 pair of shoes. So I had said like maybe I should do some shoe quality checks, and ended up doing that within a few days, and found 2 or 3 pairs of shoes and like 4 hats back here that were not listed on eBay. So they were just sitting in inventory, but not listed. So something happened. They got removed or they got deleted and not relisted. And it was good to get it back up, because obviously it can't sell if it's not listed. I typically will not spend this much time on a package, but as mentioned before, it's going overseas. So I'm putting a little bit of something to help make this package a little more durable, since I don't have a box. Or I guess I should say, since I'm using a poly mailer and not a box. All right. I have a box. I'm just choosing not to use it to save on shipping. Okay. Let's get the weight here. Just under 2 pounds. I love to see that. Okay. So for all my international orders, I use a site called Pirate Ship. You can create a free account and you can ship your items there for free. It doesn't cost. It's not a monthly subscription. You just basically set up an account. You put your payment source in there. You get your shipping rates, and it will actually pull in your eBay orders so that you don't have to manually type in all that information. You just import it from eBay. It fills out all that data. You put a little bit of information in on like the weight and the dimensions, and then a couple of different items, and then you're on your way to shipping it. So it's not as crazy as it sounds. You know, you think international shipping, you think, oh, there's got to be a lot involved, right? It's got to be, you're filling out a lot of customs information and things like that. But it's honestly not that much. I'll tell you what I'm filling out. So I imported it. I basically chose poly mailer. I put in the dimensions, the length and width, and the weight. Scroll down. For customs, I'm going to describe what I'm shipping. So I'm just going to say backpack. I keep it super simple. Quantity 1. Total value of the item, I'm just going to put in the purchase price, $35. The weight again, so it's got to match. And then if they paid a VAT ahead of time, you want to get that in. There's a box for that. And then the only other piece of information I need is this harmonization number, which basically is like a universal system that just tells customs there what this item is. So it's like a category system. I don't know why we have this, since I'm telling them what is in the package, but it's all right. Okay. Okay, so I've got my code here. Just going to copy and paste that in. And we're going to add insurance for $1. Thinking about this because it says declared package value. I'm not going to include shipping in that. Okay. Double check these, make sure okay. We're good to go there. And basically what's going to happen is, so I'm going to print out this label, $22.99 to ship it. Again, I charged the buyer $30. I thought this was actually going to be over 2 pounds, which is why I had the higher rate. But I also added $1 for the insurance in there. And then it prints out a label. Pretty simple. And basically, this is going to go to the closest international center for me is in Illinois. So it's going to send it there. The buyer's going to get a delivered notification. And sometimes they will freak out and say like, hey, I saw this delivered. I don't have it. Happens quite a bit. And I've got like a copy and paste message that I just post in, just basically telling like how the process works. So it's going to go to this center. It's going to show delivered. They're going to like repackage it and resort it and then ship it again to the international destination. So from there, a new tracking number will be updated and it will deliver. So it's usually pretty smooth sailing for a pirate ship order. Pun intended. Had to use it there, right? All right, I've got a few more orders to ship out, and then we're going to be talking about the reseller spreadsheet that just dropped last Friday. We'll be talking about one specific feature in general, the consignment tab. So you'll want to stick around for that. I'm going to kind of highlight what one of these features, what it can do on the new 2026 spreadsheet. All right, next up, St. John's Bay. It's a JCPenney brand. Do I pick this up? No, but if it's brand new and it's $5 on sale at JCPenney's, you better believe it. So I picked this up with a lot of items, actually. I think I spent $300 or $400, bought a bunch of stuff, most of it $5 each, and it's just been slowly selling. A lot of these are like flannels and corduroys and blazers and things like that. So I source wherever I know I can make some good money. Retail arbitrage, thrift stores, yard sales. This was a good find for me. So definitely be going back next year to pick up some more stuff there for $5. Someone was asking about profit earlier. Let's see, take a look at how much, forgetting how much this label was. So this sold for $22.99. I guess I didn't tell you that. $22.99 on this St. John's flannel shirt plus shipping. So you take out all my fees and my shipping, I ended up making $14.88. So I spent $5, I got almost 15 back, tripling my money. I'll take that. 300% ROI. Now, considering that I bought 50 or 60 items, you think about, I may not triple my money every time, but this is just part of the business of like building up inventory, building up, and knowing that it may not sell in the first month, but it's eventually going to sell when the season hits. I bought this back in May. So if you think about JCPenney was getting rid of a bunch of cold weather items. They're obviously not going to sell in the summer. I knew that. I'm buying flannels and corduroys. I knew they were going to sell in the fall. So I bought to basically stock up, and now they're starting to move. Okay, next up. You can probably see a few more pairs of these sorrel boots back in there. I don't know if you can see them right. I'm figuring out how to point here. Right there. Got 3 pairs here. Got a 4th. There may be some out of the frame, but I've got a bunch of these. All that to say, these sorrel, like quilted, like puffer winter boots. I've sold a couple already. These sold for full price, $69 plus $10.95 shipping. So something I picked up at like the TJ Maxx and Marshalls has their yellow tag sale. I picked up a bunch of these for I think $29 a piece. So picked them up for $29. They sold for $69. I'm looking at like $25 to $30 profit. And yes, the cost of goods can start to add up when you're spending $29 times, what did I buy? Like 8 pairs of boots. And then of course I bought a bunch of other stuff there too. I mean, I can easily drop a few $1,000s. But I'm looking at it from the standpoint of stocking up on inventory that's going to sell eventually and make me money. So I'm not doing retail arbitrage as heavy as I was, though. I've gotten more selective because of the cost. It's expensive. It's expensive to do. You may say, well, like, why do it? You know, if you're making less profit and you're spending all this money. But when you buy new stuff and sell new stuff, there are things that, there are certain people that will not buy used. They just won't. Maybe they've gotten burned in the past and they're like, that's it. I'm never buying used again. So when you buy something and to sell new, you bring in some buyers that maybe you wouldn't have had if that item were used. Of course, this is already paid off. The credit card's already paid. All the inventory I have, with the exception of what I've bought in the last like 2 or 3 weeks, is all paid off. So at this point, it's all money for me. It's all money for the business. It's not like I'm drowning in debt or anything. So I definitely would suggest, if you're like a newer reseller, if you're like me when I started off, your cash was limited. So make smart choices. Don't take a lot of like big risks. Like, build your inventory, try and reinvest all of your profit back into the business if you can. I know there are situations where you need the money and you're reselling to, pay off a car or something. Like, obviously do what you need to do. But for a year and a half, I built this business from $200. Everything I sold went back into buying more inventory. And now 10 years down the road, I'm at a place that's different than where I was when I started. Going to Chicago, Illinois. Definitely understand that. They've got some cold winters up there with the Great Lakes. Rex, what's going on? Jeremy, Daniel, Carlos, thanks for stopping in. So going back, $6.59 shipping, going back to the boots, $69 sale. They took 295 days to sell. So quite a long time. I think I said I paid 29 bucks. That brings in about 26.60 in profit. So that's very common for me with retail arbitrage, where I'm spending, say, 20 to make 20, or 29 to make 26, or something like that. Carlos on Facebook says, "Sorry, I just joined your live. No need to apologize. I'm glad you're here. I sell on eBay. Is Poshmark good to sell as well? Used or new? What do you recommend, boss?" Yeah, great question, Carlos. It's hard to really answer that without getting into the nuance. I would say yes, Poshmark is good to sell on for sure. You can make some money there. Um, Poshmark, you can tend to get a little more money on more premium brands. So you think higher end on Poshmark, but that doesn't mean that there's not a market for, say, your typical like Nike top or something. But if you can get into like some higher end athleisure, some higher end brands, you can do really well in Poshmark. So yes, I would say if you're considering Posh, definitely jump in and go for it. Get some items listed over there. Um, I like Poshmark because, without getting into like all the brands and stuff, I like it because when I sell it, I know it's not coming back. Um, no returns on Poshmark. As long as I describe the item accurately, it's going to go to the buyer and it's going to stay with the buyer. It's not coming back. So even though, yes, 20% fees on Poshmark, um, which isn't as much as you would think, because Poshmark is 20% of the purchase price, whereas eBay charges their rate on purchase price plus shipping plus taxes plus international fees, all of it. So Poshmark and eBay are actually very similar in rates, um, even though it doesn't seem like it. So yes, I would say Poshmark, use new, yes, sell it all. I mean, just try it out, throw some items up, and start to see with your experience what items are selling there. But um, I may have an item that sells for 25 on eBay and I can get 35 on Poshmark. It's just a different platform and you have a different buyer there. You definitely have buyers who shop on Posh that won't shop on eBay. So yeah, and I'll throw that out to the rest of you all watching on YouTube or Facebook. What do you think? Are you selling on Poshmark? What's been selling for you? What category are you selling in there? If you're selling clothing, like specifically what men's, women's, what types of items? How would you answer that question? Just plug in some coffee in the veins before I break out the camera. Nice. You had a goal of starting some content, right? Is that right? Or are you already going with it? How's that going for you, Rex? Up in Bend, Oregon. All right. Next up, got a pair of Vionic. There's the Vionic mules, like leather mules. These are women's. I mean, comps were around like the $40 range. I took an offer last night for 30 bucks to move these because I've had them for 5 months. 140 days is what it took to sell these. Thank you, sir. Going to try it out. Cool. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I think you'll have some success there. It may take a while, and I will say this about Poshmark now that I'm thinking about it. Poshmark is more on the sharing aspect. So your store needs to be sharing, following people, liking items, and that's a lot to do manually. So I use Nifty for that, and I was plugging Nifty earlier. For a long time, I was using Nifty just to share my Poshmark closet. You can get a plan for like 25 bucks a month. And I've got that linked below that will save you 15% off your first month if you want to try it out. It will do all the automatic sharing. It will follow, which helps you make sales. So if you're going to be on Poshmark, you almost have to do, unless you're like the rock bottom price, you almost have to do the sharing aspect of Poshmark in order to get those sales. Okay. So Vionic, these leather mules, women's, got like kind of a glossy like trim down here, a black trim that maybe not pulling in on this video, but you can kind of see it. Excellent condition. Got somewhere in the bottom. I think I even have the price on here. $5, 5p. So P would have been purple or pink. $5 into 30 on eBay. Honestly, I thought that I had had these longer, but 140 days kind of surprised me. I thought they were like a year, um, a year-long item, something I bought a year ago. Peaks in the building. Peak, were your ears burning? Did you hear me talking about you? We're not going to tell you what I said, though. Rex is up to 180 non-book items in the store now. Nice. Actually, Chris, I'm actually going to send them your way. So just type your address in the chat, and I'll send these shoes to you. I'd keep them, but they're not my size. I think they're more your size. Did I go out and thrift for the holiday yesterday? I didn't, actually. This week has been kind of a different week. I stayed home and listed for the first time in like 5 weeks. Take it back. Did any of y'all go out and thrift yesterday? Get out on Veterans Day? I just had some random like office stuff that I was doing. I do remember when this brand Vionic used to be really popular, and I would list shoes and they would sell like that. And now, as with a lot of brands, you get a lot of people in on something, and obviously brands change, or I guess the demand for brands change. And that's the case with these. Still, I mean, $30, it's a good sale. I'm not complaining about that. Not complaining about a $30 sale. You heard me earlier saying once you hit that like $30 range, I feel like I'm kind of out of the bread and butter items. Profit of $21.95. $21.95, 140 days in. Popped into one store. Did you do well? All right, last item up, just sold this morning right before the live. I wish these weren't flawed because I could have gotten a lot more money on these. The brand is, I'm going to butcher this, guys, but don't hate, don't judge me. Tecovas or Tecovas maybe, Tecovas. It's like a Western cowboy brand. We actually have a store in our mall here that, not my style, but I do think these are a Bolo brand for sure. These had stains on the back pocket, stains on the front. They had a rip on the back waist, and they sold this morning for $8. So I had them like 15, 17 bucks. Buyer made an offer for $8, and I just took it. Get them out. Pair of pants taking up a lot of bin space. Let's move them. But if you don't know that brand, I'll take a look real quick because it's been a while since I listed these. Just to give you an idea of comps on these, if they're used in excellent condition. First one up, last sold today. There's a pair that sold for $35. Got 3 sales today already. Got another one for $30. Got one yesterday for $43. So definitely a Bolo brand. Here's $36, $55. So you can kind of get an idea of $30 at the low end for excellent pair, maybe up as high as $50 for a certain style. So that $30 to $50 range is excellent for a pair of jeans. Again, had those not been flawed, I would have gotten a lot more. Pop in and ask them how to pronounce it next time you're there. Anyone know? Can anyone spell it out? J-Dub says, do you ever compare pirate ships rates with eBay's? I'm also a pirate. We just happened to notice a significantly lower rate this week through eBay. Something dimensional weight. I used to, and there were times, especially with like items that weighed more, where like there's larger non-clothing items or like a jacket that was say 3 or 4 pounds. I used to compare. I haven't done it in a while, But I guess what you're saying is it would be good to do that now. Are you noticing like pirate ship is has better rates than eBay on certain items? What are you seeing over there? So again, just like I was mentioning the other flawed item that I sold earlier, offer comes in, get it out. You know, you don't want a flawed item to be sitting in your store a year later. Just get an offer, get it out if you can. If you have an offer, just take it. Get it out of the store. Admit you made a mistake and move on. I mean, I lost money on these. $6 or $7 jeans that I sold for $8 and they sold promoted. I lost money, but you got to know when you've got a loss and just cut your, get out of it, cut your loss and get out of there. Excuse me. Yeah, so I think I paid $8 for those. And right now my profit is showing 574. So you subtract $8 out of that. I lost $3 on those jeans. Again, it's I keep saying I need to get better. I'm not really doing anything to get better at sourcing. I just when I find stains, I just move on. If it's a blatant stain or a rip and I miss it, oh well, I'll move on. It doesn't happen that much. A lot of times this, the flaws are like minor. They're not usually huge. Um, all right, so that's all my items shipped out. I want to kind of switch gears a little bit because you've been hearing me rattle off numbers. You've been hearing me tell like how many days it took to sell or what my percentage is on platforms, which platforms are doing better. You've been hearing me say profit. I'm looking at my spreadsheet right here. So for those that aren't familiar, or maybe you just started following me, I've got my spreadsheet pulled up right here on the second screen. So when you see me looking off, that's what I'm looking at. We just dropped the 2026 reseller spreadsheet last Friday. It's available now. Obviously, you've still got what 6 weeks, 7 weeks until the new year starts, but you can get it now and get prepared so that when January 1st rolls around, you're starting with your sales day one, and you can quickly just start pasting in your sales that you make in January. If you're looking for the spreadsheet, I'll link it. Again, it's linked in the description on my bio, wherever you're watching from, you can find it. But I wanted to talk about one feature specifically because it's got a lot of features and it would take a while to just hammer all of them. But one specific, and reason why I'm mentioning this one on this video is I actually had someone reach out about consignment. They're selling consignment. Obviously, the spreadsheet is going to track your sales, your inventory, your profit and loss, and things like that, and a bunch of other stuff. But one of the huge benefits of this sheet, kind of outside of those typical metrics, are the consignment or is the consignment tab. So for those people who are selling for other people, so someone who's got a bunch of stuff they want to sell, they come to you and they ask you, what's your rate? You say, we'll split the profit, or I'll give you 30%, or whatever relationship you have. I have a way on this sheet for you to track your consignment sales. Small drink. So it's really simple. If you're already logging your sales on the spreadsheet, you can there's a consignment template that's blank, and you'll basically copy that for each person that you're selling for, and make like a separate tab for each person. So I sell things for my dad, for my mom. I've got my neighbor that I sell items for because they've got some good stuff, and I keep track of all of it. It's really simple to set up. You simply just create a duplicate tab. You enter their rate. So whatever agreement you've got with them, you enter their rate. And then once you make sales and log them in the spreadsheet, you can copy and paste them into that consignment tab, and it will quickly tell you instantly how much you owe at the end of each month. So if you think of it like you're collecting money in the sale, you're going to pay them their cut at the end of each month. However you do that, check, Venmo, whatever, PayPal, Cash App, however you pay. And you can quickly look into the spreadsheet, um, see how much you owe based on the rate that you have in the sheet. So you don't have to calculate anything. It's right there for you. And it will tell you at the end of January, here's how much you owe this person for their stuff that you've sold. So great tool that just simplifies and helps you stay organized on something that's not just sales, but those types of consignment relationships that you may want to track. NRC says, if I use the spreadsheet, would I start by entering in current sourced items, then as I list and make sales update those entries? So for those of you that may be watching that have my sheet, I'll start there. It's a very simple, and I've got a video. I've got a bunch of videos on my channel that are all linked on this sheet that you can click into to watch. Short videos that will show you how to get the most out of this tool. I've got a pretty lengthy, detailed tutorial as well. And so NRC, that's a great question. If you've got the sheet already, it's a quick copy and paste into the new year. Literally takes a minute or two and you're done. But if you don't have the sheet like you're asking, you can do one of two things. So depending on where you are and how much time you want to spend setting it up, you can potentially like just start with new inventory, list it in the sheet as you list new inventory, and then you'll copy and paste those sales into the sales tab. You can do that. You can also download like a CSV of whatever platform you're selling on. So eBay or Poshmark or what have you. And it's not going to be a clean copy and paste. You'll have to copy and paste in chunks because the spreadsheet isn't set up formatted like eBay's CSV. But you can capture like all of your item titles. You can capture all of your, what some of the things that you would need to get into the spreadsheet. Item title would be the big one. And then, so you can do it that way, CSV. You can also manually enter it, which if you have hundreds of listings could take a while. So it's hard for me to tell you which one to choose. It's really up to you. But just know that once you have the sheet going from the old year to the new year every year is pretty simple stuff when you're transferring over from my spreadsheet the previous year to my spreadsheet the second year or subsequent years. If you'd like to, you can check it out. I've got it linked. You'll see I've got 3 different versions, different price points based on where you might be in your reselling journey. And if you use code spreadsheet10, so spreadsheet 10, you'll get 10% off your order. So you can use that to save 10% right away on that spreadsheet. NRC asks, again, difference between basic and premium. Thanks again. Yeah, of course. So basic is like the entry level spreadsheet. Premium is the middle tier, and then creator is the top tier. So I won't talk about creator. Basic is pretty much just it's going to track. You can log your inventory. It will track sales and profit. It's got some other metrics, days to sell, sell-through rate, things like that. I won't get into all the details on the metrics there, but your basic is basically going to do those things. It's going to tell you inventory or a place to store your inventory, and then it's going to give you a bunch of data on your sales. The premium is going to be everything that the basic is, and it's going to add in about 5 to 7 more tabs, maybe even more. But this is going to be the place where you track your business expenses, where you look at your different platforms. So all of these are different tabs that you can track the metrics on different platforms. Consignment is another one of those options. You don't have that on the basic. The consignment is only on the premium and the creator. You've got the ability to track stores, brands, and categories. So what categories are you selling in and what types of sales price and profit are you getting on those items? You've got a profit and loss tab that's really handy come tax time. There's just so much more. I could go into more detail, but there's a lot more bells and whistles on the premium compared to the basic. Basic, I think of like, who would I recommend to use the basic? It's pretty much, let's say you're coming to tax time and you're like, I just need a place to log my sales and get my numbers from my accountant. I would say grab the basic. You may not need a lot of the data you're just trying to capture all of your totals. Or if you're someone that's just starting off, you've got like a handful of items, and um, maybe you're just really green with reselling, you're brand new. Maybe the basic would be good, but I could also see a case where you're brand new reseller and the premium would still be good for you, just because you're getting all those metrics that are helping you learn and grow. So that's kind of the difference. That is the difference. And then if of course if you go to Etsy, I've got video. I actually have like a 6-minute video on YouTube that will show you the difference between the three. All my listings have a lot of pictures and stuff, so you will know exactly what you're getting when you buy. It's pretty straightforward. So again, check out Etsy, check out my YouTube channel. You'll see a bunch of stuff there. I've got some recent videos that I just dropped. So yeah. If there aren't any other questions, I actually just got a question on Poshmark. Someone said inseam and rise, and typically I include that information. Yeah, that's funny. So they're asking about a pair of jeans, women's jeans, and they say inseam and rise question mark, and got all those measurements in my description. So I'll just direct them there. One of the biggest things that I kind of fail to mention with the spreadsheet from time to time, one of the biggest benefits that you're getting with this sheet is not just a tool to measure your business. You're also getting customer support for the whole year. So, whether your spreadsheet handy or not, if something happens, like you need help, you delete a formula and your part of your spreadsheet isn't working properly, or you think you've messed it up, it's typically really quickly for me to go in and fix it, like literally a few minutes and you're done. So with your purchase of the spreadsheet, you get customer service for the whole year. So seriously, 11 months from now, you need help, you can always message me, and I will jump in, correct it, and then you're good to go. So that's a huge benefit of getting the spreadsheet every single year, is you're getting the customer service that comes with it. And I usually respond within a business day of your reach out, so your help request. So that's all I'll say about that, unless there are any other questions. I think that's pretty much all I have for you today. Guys, this was a great conversation. I'm thankful for all of you just contributing in the ways that you did, and just asking great questions and being able to share what you know, whether it was on Etsy shipping or thrifting or international orders. Always makes the conversation a lot better. So I'll go ahead and end it here, and just hope you guys have a great rest of the week. Hope sales trend up for you going into this weekend. So we'll see you later. I'm going to go ahead and end our YouTube live session first, and then we'll get to Facebook.